Hi, the Subramaniam Shankaran from ISSS. Join me for the CISSP training and CSP videos on the YouTube. Now, third-party security. This is a part of the first domain, security risk management. So, what is the third-party security? Okay, it's the security for the people or for the organizations who are associated with you, or who are external to you. You might have outsourced a part of the IT operations, a part of the operations, not only IT, or maybe security also, okay, to a third party, or you might have offshored it to a different company, or offshoring it to, it could be a part of your own organization, but in some other country. Okay, there are a lot of organizations across the world. We outsource our operations to India, Philippines, Sri Lanka, etc. Okay, that actually becomes an offshoring. Now, there could be contractors, okay, who are working alongside with you in your office, physically sitting next to you, and they're also doing the same or similar work that you what you actually do. So they're also accessing the systems. They have the same level of access that you actually have, and it becomes much more sensitive when they work for IT. So you have professionals working for IT from different organizations alongside with you. Now, there could be a situation where you're buying a hardware or the appliances which belongs to a different organization, okay, from a vendor. Okay, they might supply a manpower to you to support you for the operations. Okay, in any of the cases, okay, now you have somebody or you have an organization which is not yours. Okay, it's external. I don't mean to say that if something is external, then it's dangerous. There are insider attacks also. Okay, the same level of security we also need to have. Okay, if we're going to secure ourselves from the insider employees, okay, our own employees. Yeah. Now we are in the age where we speak about the zero trust, right? We say, trust but verify. Okay. In fact, the rules for this is based on default to deny. Okay, so you don't trust anybody. Okay, so by default you deny them access. Okay, and if you're comfortable you can give them access. It holds good for the internal employees and the external contractors as well. Okay, sometimes you are more strict when it comes to the external contractors. Okay, but when it's our own employees, we are relaxed. Okay, the same. Okay, we know the human, okay, is the weakest link of the complete security chain, weakest link in the complete security chain. So that human factor could be a contractor, could be a vendor, or it could be our own employee. Okay, if we are so strict against the contractors, okay, and if we are so relaxed with the internal employee, somebody might tip. It's actually called as a collusion attack. Somebody might tip insider, an employee who works with the organization and get the data. Okay, the risk remains the same. Okay, but what we are actually seeing here is a third-party security. Service providers contractual security, the part of the contract that the organization is actually signing with the third party. Okay, the confidentiality, integrity, availability, all this thing needs to be mentioned. Yeah. So because we need to have it on the paper, signed by it's signed by both the parties. Okay, so that we understand what we have asked the contractors to do or vendors to do, and what the contractors should do or the vendors should do for us. Okay, so it's on black and white. Minimum security requirement. What does this mean? If I want to assign an activity to a third party organization, like a vendor, I would say you need to have at least the daily patching, okay, or regular patching, okay, regular patching, daily antivirus signatures check, okay, identity and access management, okay, then penetration testing and internal audit controls, okay, all these things needs to be listed so that they meet the minimum security requirement. In Middle East, okay, the GCC, how it actually works is if an organization has got a requirement to outsource the ISO 27001 implementation, NESA, ISR, SAMA, okay, the PDPL implementation to a third party, 95% of the cases, they also ensure that the organization which is trying to bid for this particular project is also certified on this standard. For example, ISO 27000 implementation, it's fair to expect the organization who is implementing the ISO 27001 is also certified in ISO 27001. So they are certified, they have the policies, procedures, they are following it, they are living by it by a habit. Okay, so these type of organizations can understand what needs to be done. So the minimum security requirement could also be that. Yeah. And next is service level agreement and service level requirement. Requirement is actually from the customer. Agreement is between the organization and the vendor. Okay, the customer, assume that I am the organization. The customer has the service level requirement for me. He will say, I'm expecting A, B, C, D, okay, from you. Now, I can deliver that myself. If I'm going to engage a third party, okay, I need to ensure that the service level agreement is actually established between myself and the third party. Okay, to meet the service level requirement. So service level requirement is the need, okay, and service level agreement, okay, it what it means the need, okay, it could contain the ITL requirements, it could contain the quality requirements, it could contain the security requirements, privacy requirements, blah blah blah. So we've got various standards, right? So 27001 for security, 27701 for privacy, 9001 for quality, 22301 for business continuity. So all these things, okay, needs to be met by the service level agreement between the organization and the vendors, and service level requirement comes from the customer to the organization. Attestation, as I told you, an organization needs to be attested, okay, attested and certification, okay, they both are almost the same. If the certification body is going to issue you a certificate, okay, then we call that as a certification. Okay, and it's like ISO 27001, the organization is certified. Attestation, where there is no certification. Okay, it is just, there's no certificate for the organization. It is signature done by an autonomous body. It could be a regulatory body, or it could be any other body who's in, let's say, the big four. Okay, they can give you an attestation certificate. But attestation, okay, for your complaints, not a certificate. Certificate is the certification body. Brit certification assessment is a certification body. We have got TUV suit, okay, DNVGL, okay, VSI. All these things are certification body. Right to penetration test and right to audit. So what do we actually mean by that? Now I have a vendor who is anyway undergoing the VAPT regularly, and he has got his own ISO 27000 audit cycles, etc. But for some reason, okay, I don't trust, or I want to ensure that, okay, they're doing it the right way. So I will add this right to penetration test and right to audit in my contract. Okay. So I'll tell them I'm going to do a penetration testing during this period. Okay. I'm going to audit you. Okay. It's a must, because I don't want that organization as a gateway, okay, for the hackers to penetrate into my organization. Okay, if my organization is a company A, they're company B, I don't want company B to be a gateway for the hackers to penetrate. I was once working for a multinational bank, very powerful bank, okay, present across the globe. Now we took over a company, okay, and from the security perspective, I went there to do a due diligence. But surprisingly, when I did a firewall rule review, I found two any allow rule, okay, two times. I was amused. Okay, I asked them, okay, why do you have this rule? Any allow. Okay. They said, no, we once had a network failure. Okay, nobody was able to access anything on the internet. And that time there was a network administrator who added this particular rule. I said, that's okay, but why twice? They said that network administrator who added that rule, he quit. Okay, then there was a new guy who was actually coming in. They had a very similar problem. And they told the network administrator, the old guy added any allow, it worked. Why don't you do it? Because they added it. It was ridiculous. Okay. Now, if the firewall rule review or the due diligence from the security perspective was not available in this scenario, that organization would have been a gateway for the hackers to penetrate my network. Okay, so right to penetration test, right to audit is very important. Let's get on to the next slide. Supply chain risk management. I'm procuring the hardware, I'm procuring the software, commercial, off the shelf software, spots, procuring the hardware. Now, there are chances that the hardware, okay, may contain a keylogger in the BIOS. Okay, it may contain a keylogger on the Windows operating system. It may contain a keylogger on the application. There are layers where the keyloggers can actually be available. Okay, and similarly, if it's going to be on the application layer, it could be a part of the commercial off-the-shelf facility. People who are joining me for the certified advanced penetration testing course, you know that how easy it is to have a keylogger. Okay, in fact, we did a demonstration with MSFN Metasploit. But if you're a seasoned programmer and you're a hacker, you can do wonders with it. So whenever I'm procuring a hardware, whenever I'm procuring a software, whenever I'm procuring the services, I need to ensure security component is a part of it. Without a due diligence, I cannot allow the hardware procurement, software procurement, or services. No. That's why we have the preferred vendor list, and they're all certified and attested. vendor governance, okay, managing the vendor performance, okay, and also the security. Okay, for example, I'm with an antivirus, okay, and I have 30 malware incidents every month, okay. Now, I will take up this with them. I'll say that, okay, there are 30 incidents every month, okay. What are you going to do for reducing it? So they'll have a plan of action. If they're not actually doing it, I would say go for some other vendor. Okay, do a pilot to see how are they performing. They shouldn't be worse than the existing vendors. Yeah. So this actually got to the vendor goals. I just gave you an example of an anti-malware, but it can be a firewall, or it can be a CASB, it can be a SOAR. Okay, whatever, any other security components, vendor governance is actually a must. Acquisition. I'm a company A, okay? I'm ISO 27001 certified company, or I'm certified on the cyber capability maturity model. Okay, all the certifications are something which I actually have. I'm taking on another company. I'm sorry. I'm taking on another organization. They don't have the certificate. Okay, they are not very serious about the security practices. If I take them into my organization, two becomes one, then I have a challenge. Though the transition, okay, will have a lot of procedures and activities and checklists to be followed, okay, but still, okay, the culture of the other organization is totally different from mine. Their employees might not be in a position to follow what I'm actually saying. So, in diverse teacher, okay, if I'm going to integrate an organization which is not up to that level in security, then I'm going to have a problem. Totally a different one is the diverse teacher. One becomes two. People who have been working for my organization, they know the confidential data, they know my security practices, they know a lot of things about my organization. When they actually move out, they take all the knowledge with them. Okay, so this is like a disclosure that happens in case of divestiture. In acquisition, also the disclosure happens. Okay, but we need to take care of that because my security team, which was of 30 employees, becomes 45 because I have acquired another organization. Doesn't mean that I'm revealing everything to everybody. Principles of least privileges are need to know and default to deny. Three principles you need to follow for this cybersecurity. Third party assessment and monitoring. Okay. So it's like, the supply chain risk management. So other organization who's trying to provide you the software, who's trying to provide you the services. Okay. So you need to do an assessment for them before you actually onboard them. And right to penetrate, right to do a penetration testing and right to audit becomes a part of your business as usual. Okay, outsourcing and offshoring. Outsourcing is you're outsourcing a part of the IT operations, security operations to a third party. Okay, do a due diligence, find out how genuine is a third party and what all their process for recruiting new employee. Do they do a background verification checking? So who are all going to be a part of the project? Okay, have they all undergone the background verification checks, and how have been their performance in the current organization? Okay, this with respect to the outsourcing. I'm speaking about the human resources factor. But more than that, what level of access that you are actually going to give to an outsourced company? Okay, if it's going to be a development company, you can ask them to develop their software and ship it to you, and you do an UAT. And as a part of your, application testing, you can also do the OWASP Top 10 vulnerability check and SANS Top 25 vulnerability checks and Web Application Security Consortium vulnerability checks, etc. for a web-based application. And then you can take it to the staging and then the production. Okay, but if it's going to be like an hardware or operating system support, IT support, okay, and if they're going to do it remotely, you need to give them access. Remotely is for the offshoring, but for the outsourcing, they are part of your organization, sitting in your own premises to doing it. Okay, what level of access you actually give them, what level of monitoring that you actually do, okay, is very important. As I said, this is not only for the contractors and the vendors, this is also required for your own employees. It holds good for everybody. Okay, we cannot say that the contractors are mischievous or malicious and your employees are trustworthy. No, sometimes it could be the other way around. We don't know. Okay, fingers crossed. Next is the offshoring. You are actually giving the access to somebody, not in your country. Okay, it's a different country. I know incidents that has happened where sensitive operations were outsourced and there had been a lot of security incidents report. Okay, we need to be extremely careful with that. Okay, if because the offshoring and outsourcing are the solutions that the organization adopt to lower the total cost of ownership. But there's nothing in the world comes as total benefit, right? There's the other side of it. Also consider the security vulnerabilities and the risks that you're actually going to undertake, and what are the mitigation actions that you're actually going to undertake to put a stop to that. Thanks for watching this video. Stay connected, stay subscribed to my channel for more and more videos on penetration testing and data privacy and protection and CISSP. Cheers then. Bye-bye.